Head on.
Hey, yeah, 3, 2, 1. Hey, it's the Staniacs, and we're going to like 5 hours ahead of time to talk with Nick Roemer, who is with Cybus 21. I've talked to Nick a couple of times before. He's got some really cool stuff, Emma. And by the way, how are you doing this
I'm
evening?
doing good. Happy to be here today. Like you said, talk to Nick Roemer. Never spoke to someone via Zoom or, in our case, Zencaster that's in Scotland. So I'm very excited for this new opportunity.
We
Very
got
happy to be
close. We got close. The nomadic artist was in
That's
England.
true.
She was just outside of London, so we got pretty close. But Nick, hey, how are you doing, my friend? What's going on over there in the land of golf?
The land of golf. Well, exactly. It's a bit too wet and windy right now for the golf, but yeah.
Wait a minute. Are you Scottish or what? I mean, how's it too wet and windy for golf? I don't understand.
Yeah, no, I will tell you a secret. I might be, but I'm a nice weather golfer. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So those exist there. Okay,
Shouldn't
I got
say
you.
it out loud, but yeah.
I played TPC Vegas in 70-mile-an-hour sustained winds and gusts up to 90.
Jeez.
Me and my buddy, we played all. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say I'd probably play a better round of golf when it's heavy wind. So like,
I tell you what, I drove the green on a 550-yard par 5. I drove the green from the tee with the wind. I also hit a 3-iron about 40 yards into the wind as hard as I could. It was ridiculous.
On a bad day, I knew that without the wind. So yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, Emma, hey, Nick is with Cybus 21. Nick, give us the lowdown on Cybus 21, the elevator pitch on what's going on there, and then let's jump into this.
Perfect. Well, to be honest, it's I always say it's quite short, right? We've got a simple vision, and like it's literally just we've got the tech currently available to do something sensible on I would say most diesel engines, and that's all diesel engines from like trucks to trains to marine, like what did I say? I did say marine, yeah. Marine mining equipment,
Yeah.
tractors, like everything, right? So rather than waiting for the EV and the hydrogen market to roll, we've got something currently that's readily available, and we can do that today to make a big impact, not just on the planet, on the trucker as well, because let's not forget the trucker. So what we're trying to do is literally what we have currently on the roads, make it better, and what we can make better is actually for the planet, for the trucker, and that way it's quite simple what we have. Let's make sure that everybody wins.
So specifically, it's an add-on technology to a diesel engine, regardless if it's in my pickup truck or retrofit. And it can go on my Class 8 big heavy trucks. It can go on my Terex mining equipment. It can go on my Volkswagen Rabbit or whatever it happens to be, and marine, even diesel engines on marine as well, which is cool. And so what does it specifically do? It assists the diesel. It makes it greener. What's the benefit?
Yes, it's an enhanced combustion method. So what we do is we introduce a tiny amount of propane into the air intake of the engine. And it's basically to create a better holistic environment for the diesel to burn in. And the way I always explain it, most of people will probably like have a bit of a technical understanding, but what we sometimes say when people don't fully understand it, I always say it as when you have a bonfire and you throw a big massive log tree trunk in the middle of that bonfire, tomorrow you come back and that tree trunk is still there, right? It's charred from the outside, but still there.
Yeah,
that's basically what happens with diesel molecules as well. They burn, but not completely. You know, when you see the black smoke, it's unburned diesel. So what we do is actually chop those molecules with that tree trunk. We chop it up in tiny little splinters of timber. You know, like they say with the diesel molecules, we'll chop them up. You know, and then burn again. And then when it burns, like you know, in finer pieces, like they burn more realistic, like more completely.
That's interesting. So is it kind of like when they talk about incineration of like trash and plastics and stuff like that, when they talk about that, they talk about plasma burning or flameless combustion and stuff that's such a high temperature, gone, right? Is that what we're talking about here? So it's not, you're not replacing volume. It's not like you're putting ethanol in there. It's not propane in there so that it's changing volume. It's actually making it clear. No.
Yeah,
I got you. It is chemically making it burn more efficient so that there is less carbon dioxide. And I think you guys talk about nitrous oxide as well, which nobody else talks about.
Yes, yeah. I think, like, to be honest, and I think that's always like everybody talks about CO2 emissions, right? And that's the big one. Yeah. The big one that gets mentioned, like COP26, COP27 we just had, and like everything else, the CO2 emissions, we need to lower those. Yes, we do. Let's not forget about the NOx emissions, because the nitrous oxide emissions are actually harmful for humans, whereas CO2 is a bit of a longer one, which is more harmful for the planet. So, of course, we need to reduce both. I'm not saying let's just reduce one, but let's not forget about the NOx emissions, because those emissions are actually harmful for us. Like, lung cancers and like all these kind of like horrible, things that come with it. So it's, we should definitely not have those ones not eliminated. Those ones, in my opinion, are as important to eliminate as CO2 emissions.
So let me ask you something stupid. The NOx that's coming out of here isn't the same as like your dentist gives you and you feel all loopy before they drill a hole in your face, is it?
No, that's not the same one, no.
Not the same stuff. I was going to say, why don't you just capture it and sell it stuff? No, okay. So that's
a business idea.
Yeah. Now, okay. So specifically, what is your target market and why are you there? From the aspect of, you were talking about a stopgap technology, right? Because Em and I have spoken with people like Thomas Healy has been on here from Hyliion, right? And we know that he will describe his company as a sustainability company and one that is trying to reduce emissions. They just happen to focus on drivetrains to make that happen, right? And he'll tell you they want to go to hydrogen, but right now hydrogen production is so massively energy consumption. It's not green at all. And so he's using RNG until they get there, right, as a stopgap. Is that what you're doing here? What's the plan?
Well, I would say we're a sustainable tech company. Yeah, like right now we're focusing on what's here. We're focused on what we can do today. And rather than looking, 5, 10, 15, 20, whenever it is, like years ahead, what was the biggest thing for us was like, what can we do today that will impact tomorrow? That, I'm not saying like EV, hydrogen, wherever, fuel cell, all these things are coming, right? And I'm not saying, we're not going to, diesel
sure.
and petrol engines are way cleaner today than they were 20, 30 years ago, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. When they say, hey, we're going to cut emissions by 50 more percent, well, they already been cut 97. So,
yes.
Right.
So in that sense, what we're trying to do is exactly fill that gap, and the infrastructure as well. Let's not forget about the infrastructure, the data that's not readily available yet as well, and everything else. Like there's so many things out there that it's not going to be widely adopted within the next 5 to 10 years.
Correct.
But we still need to lower and reduce emissions and help truckers out there, like, with all the rising costs, left, right, and center, from fuel cost to maintenance to cost of living, whatever it all is, right? What our vision and what our mission is to make sure that, like, the more we order online, right? And, we're getting to Christmas, don't get me wrong, like half of my office is filled here with packages already, like, ready for Christmas Eve. But that's all ordered online, most of it. I don't really have the time to go outside, do that. But it gets delivered by who, right? So therefore, like we feel that the guys are the men and women that are the cornerstone of the economy, and especially like when we were talking about the American economy, they're truckers.
Sure.
97% of those are the smaller businesses that own like a few trucks, and for them to make sure that they don't lose any contracts because they're not green enough, we make sure that they can and that they will still be green.
So that is a great point, Emma. Nick, I just pointed out to Emma, this is a great point because what's going on out there is you've got these mandates, which are good and bad, right? You got California who usually leads in these type of mandates, and everybody goes, "Oh, California." But if they weren't doing that and there weren't visionaries out there doing this stuff and making it difficult to hit these goals, we probably wouldn't hit these goals. We'd say, "Yeah, we're going to do them," and then blah blah. Americans are we have the attention span of a gnat. We forget everything. It's such a convenience based. If it's not impacting me directly, then it really doesn't exist. Right. I mean, look around. Who's talking about Ukraine right now in the U.S.? No, nobody. Is it still going on just as bad? Absolutely, but we just don't. So what's happening though is this: you've got these small fleets, these 95. What Nick is talking about, 95% or something like that of the fleets in the United States, not of trucks, but 95% of the trucking companies are like 5 or less trucks, very small, right? And these guys, when they live on, a lot of them are doing like port work in and out of the ports and stuff like Los Angeles and Long Beach and Savannah, EWR up in your neck of the woods, Boston, et cetera. Mm-hmm. Notice I said Boston, right? That's how you have to say it, Boston. and so on. But they have these mandates, so they have to be green. These guys don't and girls don't go out and buy a new $200,000 truck every year, right? They're living off of this 2 and 3 year old ones. And so now they can spend a little bit of cash and retrofit what they got, and they can hit those carbon emissions and stuff. Nick, is that what we're talking about there? This is also a financial solution?
Because like the newer trucks, right? They're like we just said it, like the newer trucks are getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner, right? Well, let's not forget about the trucks that are like, how many of these older trucks that are like the livelihood of these men and women that are like driving them, and they're maintaining them, right? And they're beautiful. Yeah. They're beautiful trucks to see, like. And this is, every time I see
some of those old Pete's, some of the old Pete's are just beautiful, man. They're crazy good. Yeah,
exactly. And they will not disappear that quickly, right? Because if you've got the love and the passion for what you drive, and you see that. So the good thing is what we then can help is actually making sure that they are clean enough to drive in certain zones and, the low emission zones, and what that does as well. So it's not just the emissions, but it's the fuel savings as well. And it's the maintenance costs that come with it as well. Because you were talking about it earlier where you said like plasma burning and everything else. Actually, what we do, we actually burn, because we like in a sense, we chop it up in smaller pieces. It doesn't need to burn as high. Like the temperature of the burning is not as high, so therefore it's a lower temperature burn. Oh. And therefore the kind of the maintenance on your vehicle and on your engine is less because there's.
Is that because there's less stress because of the heat saturation and stuff like that?
Engine, yeah.
What about the exhaust fumes too? I would imagine, right? I mean, is that helps with air filtration and everything else? I would imagine inside the glow plugs.
Stuff,
So,
what I'm taking away from this, like as someone who's not a trucking person, like something Michael and I talk about all the time is it's not necessarily about buying a new product. It's not necessarily about getting the latest thing. It's about the circularity, using what you have, and being more intentional. So I love the fact that they don't have to go out and buy these brand new trucks. It's not putting all of these people out of business that have these small businesses, these passion projects, right? It's you're using something that you already have, and there's nothing more eco-friendly truly than what you already have. If you can have the tools that you guys are providing to get them there,
sure.
I think it's really, it's great for community, it's great financially, and it's great for the environment, which I think is kind of like a win-win. One of the things I was going to ask you about though is like, how would you compare this, I guess, to like a electric vehicle or a hydrogen powered vehicle? Do you think that there's like one right answer? Do you think you're the right answer? Do you think it has to be a combination moving forward? Like, how do you see this moving forward?
Like I would never. I think like the sandpit is big enough for us all to play in, and everybody will play its own role. And I think at some point it becomes probably a personal choice. Like right now, I would say like I think we are. Of course, I'm biased. I would say we're the obvious answer, but that's because we're available now. And I'm not saying that the EVs and hydrogens and fuel cells that they're not like they will probably play a big role. Okay, but then again, and this needs to be discussed. This needs to be incorporated when it comes to the stress on the network, the infrastructure of all of it, and that therefore, yes, it will come. I'm not denying that it won't come and that it will make an impact. They're currently not as clean as when they're on the road they are, but how they got there is, I think, always a big thing. These are diesel engines.
Before and after are not nearly as green as a diesel truck or a regular combustion.
Let's keep that all in mind when we're saying, okay, they're all going to play a role, right? But diesel is not just going to disappear overnight. So therefore, I think, in my opinion, they're all going to play a role. They're all going to play a role to the same goal that we all have, right? Lowering emissions, making the planet better, making sure as well for the truckers that that their costs and everything else go down, not up, right? Because they're already on the stress. So therefore, and I think that's the biggest thing to keep in mind, making sure that it's not just for the dollars in our pockets. It's making sure that the cornerstone of the economy is not going to disappear and falls away, and that the cornerstone of the economy as well, at the same time, is making everything a bit cleaner. So it's simple.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things just to unpack from those couple of statements right there, but I will stick to this. Your solution, we were talking about this. This is a social solution, and also, well, I guess it would be scope 2, scope 3 emission type of solution when you think about it, right? Because it allows the economy and societies to stay functioning while they're trying to get to those standards, I guess, right? It doesn't drive people out of business. Like if we said, hey, we go all to EVs today, right? Texas shuts down, right? It's like one of the largest economies on the planet is done, basically, right? We can't do that. And the same thing for truckers and those people with the diesel, right? So socially and economically, macroeconomically, you're affecting that stuff, which is great. But then also you're preventing the production of new trucks and the consumption of old trucks, or the waste disposal of old trucks, which is incredibly energy inefficient and a big carbon footprint, by keeping those on the road. Correct? Have you calculated or gone through any of those type of things? Because we all know, producing a combustion diesel engine. Go ahead.
Yeah, so 100%, Michael. I think it's like when Emma was saying that, it's I'm not gonna go as far that we're like a circular economy, like our circular process what we have, but the linear line that it was, we at least made a kink in it, so it's not straight down, to the landfill and everything else. Because the biggest thing is older trucks, where did they disappear? They either go in landfill, they get scrapped, or they get shipped over to wherever it is, right? Africa or like India. That's where you see the older trucks. So they're not just going to disappear.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, but and that's what people don't understand. It's like with fast fashion and stuff like that. It's not in the fast fashion center is not necessarily making Dublin or Scotland, this massive wasteland of clothes and textiles, etc. But it is doing it to South America.
And anything, and honestly,
that's where it all goes, right?
And kind of to that point, though, like anything that we can do. I know you said you make a kink in the linear fashion, but honestly, anything that we can do to extend the life cycle of something is a good thing, because then you don't have waste piling up. And I mean, you probably still have waste piling up in these places, but it's less, and it's on a longer time span. And like anything that we can do to, like you said, it doesn't have to necessarily be circular. If you're extending the life cycle of something, that's an effort in and of itself.
Well, that's exactly what we do.
Nick, you're a pretty smart guy.
Sorry, you go, Michael.
Oh, go ahead, Nick.
No, okay.
I was just saying, you're a pretty smart guy. You got a lot of background. You're multiple business owner. Oh, we've got a big delay, don't we? Yeah, we do a little bit. Let me ask you this, Nick. So this technology works with diesel. Are you working on the next? Is this a technology that can be put into biodiesel, for example, or renewable diesels to make those even more efficient, or those type of things? Or are you done with diesel and going to move on after this plays out after 20 years? This would be around, even if you don't improve this, you've got 25, 30 years at least, I would imagine, of sales, right?
Yeah, so 100%. Like, I think the biggest thing for us right now is what's currently the most, who needs us most, right? But like in that sense, I think like within the trucking industry, like that's there right now. They get hammered left, right, and center to lower their emissions and everything else, right? So that's a starting point for where Cybus 21 is currently at. And currently, when we talk about diesels, but even like the way the diesel makeup over here in Europe versus in the US, slightly different than makeup. So therefore, it's already a slight variation on the diesel. But when you're talking about biodiesels and HVO and these kind of, yes, so we are working on those ones as well, because especially when we talk about marine, that's again a different type of diesel. So therefore,
of course,
different types of diesel generators. Let's talk about generators. All these things have slight differentiation in buildup, makeup, and therefore, so we'll work on all of them. Right now, diesel is there, and not just the trucking industry, mining, marine, generator market. There's so many markets that still need to be improved. So we're just getting started.
So cool.
It is very cool. It's very cool. So I was going through your posts and stuff like that, Nick, and this one post here, which seems to be off topic, I don't think really is. So I'll ask you about it. You posted that you believe this generation sometimes wants to go too quick, and I couldn't disagree more. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Or I couldn't disagree. I guess it depends on what you're looking at. Can I let me say this? Does this apply to going green? Because I have some thoughts on the fact that some people are going too fast on green and trying to get the right answer immediately, right? Instead of putting kinks in the circular economy like you are. Can you talk to that a little bit?
So that post, I remember, like when I was writing that post, it was mainly that, and I was the same when I was, because I had that vision, that goal where I wanted to go every time, and I wanted to skip steps, right, wherever I could. But sometimes I'm like, okay, well, the biggest thing for this, like, and I sometimes see that with the generation, and I don't know if it's generational or that's always been there, but when I sometimes see where people don't want to put in the groundwork first. One of the things that, like I would always say, we're all in sales, right? Even if you're a parent, you're in sales, right? You try to sell your kid to eat up or to do their homework or whatever.
And you're trying not to get sold too.
Yeah, exactly. I get sold to every single day that way. But what I was going to get to is like if anybody who's knocked doors, if anybody has done that kind of hard grind, that you take that with you. Right, and then you start on the bottom of the ladder, right? You can't jump from the bottom of the stairs to the top. You need to take the first step, then the second and the third. Okay, sometimes when you get a bit more confident, you can skip 2 steps, but you always need to take that first one. And sometimes I feel like people come in from college or universities and okay, this is the Instagram and then the whatever lifestyle that we see. So they already have an aim and a vision of where they want to be, but they're not want to put in the groundwork. And that's what I kind of meant with that one. With the going green, so let me touch upon that topic. I think everybody should have that within their company, like a sustainability element of a company, what to do and how you can make an impact. But just offsetting something is not going green.
Mm-hmm.
Just planting.
Agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
And that's kind of the other stuff. And I said, we're trying to go to, okay, let's just do this and just, throw everything at it. Some people need to go as fast can go, because that's the way new technology develops and everything else. And that's where we're going to get to the next step. So, it's a bit of a double-edged sword in that sense.
See, I wonder if it. So I'm thinking kind of like, I guess, two things about it, because part of me is like, okay, well, at least the people that are offsetting are doing something. Like in a certain aspect, I do feel like it is a little bit of greenwashing. It's like, oh, we're going to offset our emissions and do nothing else, and great. And but in another sense, I am like, okay, well, they're trying to do something, but then I wonder. I feel like it could either go two ways from that. Either, oh, that was easy, let's try some other sustainable alternatives, or it can go into the complacency. Well, like, okay, well, we did our part. We don't have to do anything else, or this doesn't. And I guess I wanted to ask you a little bit about it too. Like, do you think that people get too complacent with possible solutions? Like, do you think they're like, well, we tried something and it wasn't green, so it didn't work, or we would go this route, but we're already doing enough? Like, do you find that complacency within, I guess, your life, the people you speak to, and the business in general?
100%, and that's just we're human beings are creatures of habits, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many times have we heard, yeah, but it's always been like this, right? So that's one of these things, and that's just human nature, right? So in that sense, I think doing that, like doing the things you've always done, won't change. But that's why you've got the entrepreneurs and everything else that are trying to, like, make a kink in the line, or whatever you want to call it. So I think from that sense, yeah, like it's a difficult, as long as you make an impact, then, like, I'm all for it. As long as you try new things, but it's with a lot of things, I think, and that's the same with going, like, eating like free range eggs or whatsoever it is, right? A lot of the other things is like, as long as it doesn't cost me anything.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody wants to do it until there's a price tag sometimes.
Or they have to change their habit, or they have to do something different that they're not used to or comfortable with, right? Like,
yeah, but then, you're 100% right. Or you could buy this Cybus 21 add-on and not spend $100,000 on a new truck.
Well, maybe that's the key. Maybe those, right? It's appealing to the you could get rid of your truck, or you could.
That's the biggest thing there. When we're talking about, like, the benefits of something like this over going, like, for example, like buying a brand new EV truck.
Right.
You maintain, like, let's keep your truck. Let's make sure that, yes, you're invested in, like, a little bit of money on the retrofit technology. Sure. But thereafter, if your fuel economy is better, your maintenance, you prolong the life of your engine and your truck, then, in that sense, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Like, you can keep driving your truck. I'm not saying we're the wonder equipment that nothing will happen to your truck. It's still a technical piece of equipment, but sure. Like a tire can blow, or like a gasket, or whatever it might be, right? So these kind of things happen. But other than that, I think, like, with what we've got with Cybus, and that's the added bonus to that, is like, you're not just saving the planet, you're saving your back pocket as well. So, like, there's so many people that I speak to that are literally, on that fence of, like, actually making a profit or a loss, but they don't know if they can go on any, like, longer, like after the Q1 next year. We don't know. Is everything going to rise? Do we need shut the doors? And what we've got, hopefully they don't.
Yeah, they're trying to survive, let alone do something for the planet, which they want to. I mean, when it comes down to eating or saving the planet, they're going to eat and hope somebody like Nick or somebody else saves the planet. Is what's going to happen, right? I mean, that's human nature. I love the space that you're in, not only with the diesel, because 35 years in logistics, but I also love the position that you're in, kind of philosophically, because you are the epitome of, it doesn't have to solve every question. It just needs to solve an issue now and help us move forward, right? I mean, it's awesome, because in other hands, somebody would have the technology that you have and the knowledge, and they'd still be taking on huge amounts of investment and not monetizing it, because they'd be like, well, we got to make it 100% clean first. Why? It doesn't have to be 100% clean. This moves us a really good step forward. And I think that's awesome. And that's where people are too slow, right? But where we're too fast is on the other side, and just accepting an answer. Like today I just saw, Nikola was invited to the second phase of the DOE's loan program, right? They're looking for like $1.3 billion to start making green hydrogen out in Arizona near Phoenix somewhere, right? This has the danger of people going, see, look, they're solving this stuff. Well, no, they're not. I mean, it's only going to be green. Hydrogen, when it burns, is green. It's producing it that is not. And unless Phoenix is their electric grid has a massive amount of electricity that is completely produced by solar or like hydroelectric, then it's not green. And I mean, by any means, right?
This is, and I don't know, like I just read an article, was it today I read an article, where it said Switzerland is banning the use of all EV vehicles during the energy crisis. I'm like, okay, so there you go, right? So, it's these kind of things. The grid right now is not ready. But that's okay. So that's a problem that needs to be solved, right? And there will be people out there that will get out there and solve it. But let's not wait until that answer is completely 100% solved before we then say like, okay, well now let's wait for 20 years and then we're going to be very green. Okay, let's just do what we can do.
Yeah.
I agree. No, I'm with you. I'm just saying, hey, let's not mandate that all cars by 2030 have to be electric if we can't sustain that, and we're going to destroy half of the undeveloped world by mining all the lithium out of the ground and destroying all their drinking water and filling everything up.
They make nice photographs, though, but.
Yeah.
That's
exactly. And like, I hate to say this too, but like, I was so disappointed by COP27. Like, I know you were talking about it earlier, but it's the same thing. Like, it's like every year they meet up and they say, we're going to commit further to reducing GHGs. And you're like, okay, but like, I don't know.
But Putin invaded Ukraine. And and there's a global recession on the way and stuff like that. Things change, right?
I know.
But
I don't know if we're mature enough to solve this issue as a society.
But I think when it comes to this, is people like to talk about things, and one of the things that we stand for is like we would like to take action now. Yeah. And it's doable now. We've got some amazing partners right now that we're working with for like the trials that we're doing in Q1 in the US, which is I'm really looking forward to coming over and actually working with these partners.
Like, so famous last words. Famous last words, Nick. I can't wait to go to Tijuana. Those are famous last words.
Yeah, and before I'll be stuck in the US and not coming back here. It's pretty good over in the US.
So tell me about those partnerships. What's going on? I was reading one about Hempspan, which was really, really interesting to me. It reminded me of the Cheech and Chong movie Up in Smoke, where they were driving the van that was made out of cannabis the whole way up from Tijuana, right? And it caught on fire. And everybody in the whole anyways. So what's Hempspan? Tell me about what's going on here, your partnership with those guys.
So they're actually, what they're doing is they produce a lot of building materials and insulation and everything else on boards for the housing and build industry, completely made out of hemp. So and it's so much greener, and again, from an insulation perspective, it's way better. So therefore,
really? Wow.
Yeah, it can create a complete of course I'm going to forget the word right now, but like an airtight house. So therefore, it's so much better for the environment, of course, as well. So in that sense, the house wins, and of course the environment wins again. And what they were talking about was like, okay, well, they're currently importing most of that hemp to the UK at this moment in time, all by truck. So what they said was like, okay, well, our products are green, but we want, the import and their carbon footprint of how the product actually gets to the UK and then gets and go into the building sites to be greener, as green as possible. So therefore, we partnered up as an amazing partnership. So going forward, we're making their transport greener for them.
So they have their own private vehicles, or through their vendors, you're partnering with vendors who then
I
haul
think
their stuff?
a bit of both, but
I
mainly
got you.
like so vendors and yeah. But again,
That's really
they're
interesting.
kind of saying like we're wanting you guys to use this product if you want to drive for us. So in that sense, they kind of push it down the chain.
That is wild. Is that what you're doing here in the United States with these guys, or are these guys in Scotland?
With Hemspan or with the partners
Yeah,
over in the
the
States?
Hemspan. Where are those guys at? Are they global or
Yes,
are they
they're currently in
European?
the UK, but they're looking at widening their field and everything else, and of course, like they're all from here, from
Mhm.
the UK, so all based like mainly London, England side. But I would be surprised if they wouldn't say like, well, the next step is actually seeing if we can ship these things a bit further afield.
That's really interesting. I wonder how they produce that stuff, right? I mean, we've got the guys from Natural Fiber Welding coming on in a couple of weeks, which is a really interesting company there as well, making different products from natural fibers as well. And I would imagine it's. I mean, you're building boards out of hemp is it's wild. I mean, it's
interesting concept.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is. It really is. That is really cool. What about your other partners? Why are you coming to the U.S.? What's going on there? Can you talk
So
about
we're
those
currently
upcoming or those?
yeah. So we're currently working with some amazing companies that are helping us out, from trials to training programs, technical partners. Um, so we're starting our first trials uh, in January. So the start of January, straight after the holidays, we're down in Ohio with one of our partners, JW Stanger. Like the guys are amazing. So big shout out to the guys. Um, so big shout out to the guys. Like they've been like when we talk about partnerships, this is what a partnership is all about. Like they've supported us through thick and thin, and it's because of guys like that. Like of course they want the benefits, they reap the benefits of course helping out having the stuff in their trucks, but yeah, it's without guys like that you can't do it, and that's why that's one of the things we've always done. Make sure that you build the right partnerships with people that know what they're talking about, people that are like to see you win as much as they win. So yeah, that's probably what we're doing right now.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's great. How long are you going to be in the States? Are you looking for other partners as well and visiting some people while you're in the States as well?
Yeah, so we're gonna be there. Like I think from January onwards, I think we'll probably have a regular flight over to the States, depending on where we need to be. Like probably every 2 months, we will probably be there. But one of the biggest things for us is our operations in the US, and we've got we're fully operational now in the US. And that's the biggest thing, because one thing that is very big for us is wherever a product gets bought. Like if one client says, oh, we want one of your retrofit technologies, brilliant. To us, it makes no sense if it's manufactured in the UK or somewhere else, then gets shipped over, probably on a big massive diesel vessel, to then get installed, and then what? We send our technicians over from the UK.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. So what we're trying to do is making sure that if it's bought in the US, it's produced in the US, installed by US technicians and partners, and therefore it's a full US product. If one gets bought in Spain, same thing happens over there, and that's just reducing the carbon footprint for us in that sense as well.
For sure.
That improves that. Yeah, that's a perfect that's
well,
a
as well as the
perfect
economy.
strategy.
Like
Sure.
I know we've got a lack of diesel technicians already, but and like not to add to the pressure, but in the sense it's like what we're trying to do. It's not just the technicians that we need. So in that sense, it's like making sure that we create jobs, and I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is your product connected through IoT devices to be able to diagnose it and its performance? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
Good.
So I also wanted to ask, and this might be a dumb question. I'm not in the logistics, transportation, trucking world at all. So sorry if this is not a question that makes any sense. But can all types of trucks use the same device, or like I'm assuming that there's different companies that make trucks and different types of engines and stuff. So is it one generic device and someone says, I want one, and you ship it out? Or does it have to like logistically be okay? You need this one to match this type of truck from this year. That
great question. That's a great question.
Yeah, 100%. And that was one of the biggest things for us as well, especially, of course, what we have like European trucks versus American trucks. There's a big difference, especially in size. So that's a very, very relevant question. And in theory, we've kind of made our product, our retrofit technology, to kind of one fits all. We kind of fit right now. We kind of say around 4 hours. We can do it like some technicians can probably do it, like in around 2 hours or less even. But again, not every technician is the same. So therefore, we always say in around 4 hours it's installed. And that comes with minor tweaks, when it comes to like the size of like the hoses and everything else. But that's what they have with them. So in a sense, one product fits all, but how it gets installed, and that's why you get like the expert of the technicians are fully certified to install it on them. And then talk again about years of trucks. Like a brand new truck will probably not benefit as much because, like we said already, they're way cleaner produced already, what they currently have. But, we're talking about, earlier about like these amazing Peterbilts. Like, these older trucks, they will benefit massively.
Yeah. Cool. But it's still a benefit to put this into an OEM's engine right off the assembly, right? I mean, it would still benefit them or produce a positive.
So like in that sense, it depends on what you try to tinker. Like, if you try to like do the mileage, or if you try to reduce the NOx emissions or the CO2 emissions. But the newer trucks are already, like say a brand new 2022 Volvo, whatever it might be, is, has a fraction of the output of emissions compared to a 1987 Peterbilt. Right?
Yeah, I would imagine it would. Yeah, imagine it being slightly different. Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, this has been excellent, Nick. What else you guys got going on, or where do people reach out to you to learn more about what is going on, and who should be reaching out to you?
I would say anybody who wants to know more, just reach out, whether it's LinkedIn or whether it's through the website, www.cybus21.com. Like we're always looking for new partnerships. We're always looking, further afield, and if even just, answering questions. And I'm all open for discussing more or like information, and just, shoot me up with an email or a message, and I'll get back to anybody that wants to.
Awesome stuff, Nick. Thank you so much for being on the show. If anybody's got any questions for us or suggestions, it doesn't matter what it is. We read everything. We're not offended. Go send us something at the, where are we at? The Sustainiacs@gmail.com, or just search the Sustainiacs anywhere. I'm Michael Vincent on LinkedIn. Also the Sustainiacs on LinkedIn. Same on Twitter. Well, I'm actually Vincent the Dude on Twitter, but then Michael Vincent or the Sustainiacs virtually every place else. Emma, where are they reaching out to you?
Yeah, same. You can reach me any of the Sustainiacs channels, but yeah, Emma Whiteman on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out, send me a message. Let's connect. And Emma_Sustainiacs on Instagram. So you can definitely communicate with me that way if that's your preferred route.
Right on. Hey, thank you, Nick Roemer, Cybus21. Go there and hey, keep your 1987 Pete running, man, because he's going to make it clean. Just give him a ring and he'll bop right on over and throw a Band-Aid on there and everything is great. I think it's just like a perforated potato they dump in the tailpipe that does. I don't know what it is. Something like that. I don't know. Anyways, peace and love, everybody. Until next.